Hey guys, and welcome back. It's Laz again for Tuts Plus, and in this part we're gonna go ahead and finish Wally's handoff. So in the last part we went ahead and created the two pieces up for the finger, and in this part we're gonna go ahead and create this joint piece that connects this bit to his actual wrist, and we'll also go ahead and finish this part as well. This will be fairly easy. We're just gonna add the cylinder in there, and then we're gonna go ahead and duplicate his arm over and sort out all this mess that we made in our outliner. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete the bits that I already made, and that one as well. So this is where we should have left off last time. So the first thing we're actually gonna do is go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this mess that I made while I was making these things. Right, okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and just create the cylinder. So let's go ahead and drag one out here, and again, proportion doesn't really matter for now because we're going to go ahead and sort it out later. We're going to go ahead and select all the faces on the top and the bottom. And if I just get off my edit mesh panel again, I can go ahead and extrude this. And again, I'm going to go ahead and slow down my slider and drag out an offset probably around there. And I'm going to go ahead and extrude this one more time and give an offset again, just to make sure that this corner will hold itself quite nicely. And then we can go ahead and use our insert edge loop tool and add into it just here and there, and same on the bottom, like so. Okay, so once we smooth it, this should be quite nice. And again, for this part, you can go ahead and improvise quite a bit, because I didn't really want to spend ages on doing this piece. So at the end of the day, you can go ahead and add your own touch to this, so you can make quite a lot of changes and you can spend a bit more time on doing this. Okay, so after you have that, we're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to hold down V and just snap it up here just so it gets roughly into the right place. Now I'm going to go ahead and scale this down. So once I have that, we're going to go ahead and start isolating bits so I can easier see what I'm doing. So once we have that, I can go ahead and navigate where I need to be, and this is still a bit too big, so you're going to go ahead and scale it down. Now I'm just going to go into my side view, turn on X-ray, and you're going to rotate. So once I rotated, I can go ahead and move this into place, and it seems to be the right the right size for what we need to be. We're just going to have to scale this up like so. And now I'm going to go ahead back into my perspective and have a look at how it's looking. Right, so now I'm going to go ahead and align this in my front view, and these vertices are selected for some reason, so I'm just going to turn it off, and now I can go ahead and align this in the center. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. I'll actually probably make this even a little bit higher, like so, and move it back just a bit, because basically well, it won't let it rotate this way, but it looks better if it's a bit closer to the edge. Okay, so once we have that, we can go ahead and come out of isolation, and basically we're going to go ahead and use this cylinder to join this piece up. So again, I'm going to duplicate this, move it down, and then we're going to have to go ahead and scale this quite a lot, and go into my side view, and I'm going to go ahead and isolate this, and this, like so, so it's easier to see what I'm actually doing. And that's looking pretty good. So what I'm looking for is that this cylinder sits roughly in the center of like this rectangle, and also that it's sitting roughly in the middle of this cylinder. Okay, so it seems to be aligned pretty well. So now I'm just going to have to go ahead and make sure that it's not sticking out too much. So probably around there, and I'll just move it a bit. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I can come out of my isolation. And now we basically just going to have to go ahead and connect this part to this part. So the way we're going to do this is, first I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this again and scale it down this way, and then I'm going to go ahead and scale it up, probably scale it down again a little bit more, like so. Make sure that this is sitting in the center. Okay, and basically this will be the cylinder that will rotate on this, to rotate this finger. The next thing you're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and create this joint piece. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate these three, like so. And now I'm just going to have to make sure that these two pieces will join up. So I'm just going to very simply use a cylinder and start extruding it. So I'm going to go ahead and make this live. And I'm just going to drag our cube somewhere around here, roughly the right size that I need it to be, and then just drag it down like so, and that's not in our isolation. So I'm going to go ahead and make this not live, and then again select the pieces that I need. The reason why I'm selecting this big piece as well is to make sure that this is not going to intersect with that. Okay, so now that I have the cube roughly at the right place, to make sure that it is, I'm going to go into my front view, just drag it in the middle like so, and then now we can go ahead and start creating this joint. So the first thing I'm going to do is move it back a bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and select these top vertices, and now I know that it's not going to intersect. I can actually go ahead and I'm going to take this out of my isolation mode so it's a bit easier to see what I'm doing. Before that, I'm going to drag these up so it's actually sitting inside a cylinder. Okay, and then now I'm going to come out of my isolation and select these three and isolate them this way. Now I think we're going to go ahead and I might rotate this a little bit more. Okay, and now we can go ahead and make this however you want it. I'm just basically going to select this, and I'm going to start extruding and rotating and make it look like an arm that will join this piece up. And again, I'm improvising for this, so I don't really have a reference, but I have a rough idea of how this would kind of work. So once more, extrude it, rotate out like so, and this is gonna be, oops, that don't look right. I think I'm gonna go ahead and undo that scale. I'm just gonna go ahead and extrude this once more. And I'm just going to go ahead and move it, rotate, and again I'm rotating at the wrong angle, and I think I messed it up big time up here as well. So I'm going to quickly undo, I'm going to delete all this because I messed it up big time, and I think this is actually rotated on the wrong bit, and it isn't. well, that just looks funny to me. Anyway, going to go ahead and mesh fill hole, and instead of making it that rounded, I'm just going to go ahead and drag this face down to about here. And I think I'm going to move this whole thing up a bit, and hopefully it is not intersecting with that piece that I isolated. And to make sure that it isn't, I'm just going to have a look. Okay, that looks fine. Go back to my isolation. So what I'm kind of looking forward for is that this is roughly at the same angle, even though it's going to move around, and that this will be fine as it is. And again, you can spend ages on doing this, but I don't really want to, so I'm just going to keep it fairly simple. Oops. So only extrude that one. Drag this out like so. Okay, so this will be the thing that holds our cylinder together, and I'm actually going to select all of these and just move them down a bit like so. Okay, so once we have that, we're just going to quickly go ahead and add in all the loops that we need. So this will keep its shape once we smooth it, and then we basically joint our thing up. So what I'm planning on doing next is what I'm planning on doing next is we're gonna actually start moving towards creating the threads. So I'm kind of excited to do that, because I think that will look really cool, and we can add some pretty cool details to that, and that will be fun to model. So I think after we finish this actual hand and sort out the names in the outliner and so on, we're going to go ahead and move on to that quite a big part of the model, and I reckon we're going to have quite a lot of fun with that, modelling that. So let me just smooth this, and I missed out a loop here. And by the end of this series, the reason why this series is really good, because hopefully you were able to follow along as a beginner as well. So by the end of this, you should have learned enough techniques and tools that we use in hard surface modeling, or the tools that I use. So by the end of the series, you should be able to break down complicated shapes that you want to model by yourself. So by the end of this series, if you wanted to model, I don't know, let's say a car or something mechanical like a Wally, you should have a pretty good foundation of how to get started. Okay, so by the end of this series, you should be able to start pretty complicated models and go ahead and create them on your own. Right, so we've done that piece, and now we're actually going to quickly finish this off by finishing off this finger to connect to that part. So I'm going to isolate these two, and as you can tell, we just need we're just going to need a cylinder in here that will connect these up. I think that's how this would work, but actually, oh yeah, I remember now. I actually changed some bits on this finger model, so that's the reason why I don't have a square in here, but you should. So I'm just going to quickly pause the recording, and I'll come back to it once I have this square replaced. Okay, so I'll see you guys in just a sec. Okay, so hey guys, I'm back, and what I did, I quickly added this piece in here. You should have like a square, it doesn't really matter. For me, it was just quicker to do. If you did want to do it this way instead, you can always delete the faces off and then fill that hole in, sort out edge loops. And then basically all I did is I went ahead and duplicated this piece and then extracted these faces, and now I just joined it up to this. Okay, it was a lot quicker for me to do it this way. So now what we're going to do, we're actually going to go ahead and just add the connection piece to this. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and make this piece live. So go to modify, make live, in my side view, I'm just going to go ahead and drag out a cylinder. So I'm going to drag one from here to about there, set high, just going to drag one out, come out of my isolation mode, make sure that this is not live anymore, so make not live, and then I'm going to select these pieces again and the cylinder that I just made and isolate them. Now if I find this cylinder, we're only going to use this for this inner side, so I'm going to scale this up and make sure that it's sitting at both of them. This way we don't have to smooth it either, it's going to be fine as it is. And then we're going to go ahead and come out of isolation again, and we're going to use these little caps at the end of this piece for this, okay, as well. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate, and I'm going to go ahead and drag this out. From here, and actually this is kind of a mess, so let me just undo that. And this is a good idea why you keep these things organized, okay, because like I said, like now it's a little bit of a mission to sort everything out, but we will organize this after we finish the finger off. It's just for the sake to keep this tutorial short. I want to keep it fairly quick. And there we go. So that's my duplicate. Now I'm going to go ahead, hold down V again and just try to snap it in there if it would work. There we are. And then going to isolate these two, go into my side view, select this, scale it down, move it where I need it. Around here, and now I'm just going to go into my perspective mode, make sure that it sits in the right place, and now I just got to duplicate this again. Come out of my isolation mode. Alright, this is the cylinder that we just made. So I'm going to duplicate this, isolate this and that, and then we can go ahead and move this to the other side. You can rotate it 180 degrees, and bam, we got that screw as well. So now I can come out with my, actually before I do that, let's just select these and isolate, and then I want to select this one as well, isolate, go into a front view, and I just want to make sure that they're roughly sticking out the same amount, and they seem to be so. Okay, so basically we're done. Gonna unisolate, so you got our screws in there as well. That's all connected. This is connected. Great. So now we can go ahead and sort out all this mess that we made in here. Okay, and basically we got our arm finished, and then we can go ahead and duplicate it over. So let's first go ahead and start at the top. So these are named already: wrist screw, wrist joint, knuckle rotation. This is finger 1. Okay, and that's all grouped up. So I'm just going to go ahead and name this. I'm going to name this finger left. Name this finger right. And I'm going to go ahead and name all these pieces. This would be the thumb, so this will be thumb top. This will be thumb bottom. This will be our thumb. I'll just name it cylinder so I know what it is. This will be thumb rotation. This will be thumb top rotation. This will be thumb cylinder joint. So again, you can name them whatever you want as long as you remember what it is. So this will be thumb top joint. The reason why I keep on doing the joint, because if we did rig it, we're gonna name them differently. So this will be a thumb joint cylinder. This will be thumb screw left, and this will be a thumb screw right. Okay, so let's go ahead and group all the thumb bits together. It should be this. Finger, finger, and then these will be our wrist pieces basically. Okay, great. And then now we can group all these to be our arm. Let me just check if all these are done correctly. Arm, yep. Okay, great. So you can group all these together and name that as our arm. And I can actually go ahead and delete this back up now because we're not going to need it. And I think we're going to go ahead and sort out some of our layers as well. So now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and delete these temporary layers that I have in here. So body layer, that's done. Neck layer, that's still good. Head layer, still good. Block, we don't need the block anymore, so you can delete the block as well. References are great. So now we're going to select, actually before I do that, we're going to duplicate it over. So let's go ahead and hit duplicate, and then in the scale x-1. Okay, and we got our second arm as well, so we're going to name this arm right. And now I'm going to select both of the arms and add it to a layer. So I'm going to name this arms. And add selected objects. Okay, that's great. So we got our arm sorted finally. Took a little longer than I thought it will. We got most of our body finished, we got the head finished, the neck finished. We're gonna have to finish this bit off later, and obviously the back piece. But before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and start creating the threads. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next part where we should start creating, probably we'll start off with these little thread bits, and then we'll go from there. So I'll see you guys in the next part.